criminals back on our streets with little to no bail. Critics of a new bail policy say this puts your family at risk.
But advocates argue it may actually be making our community safer. Channel 9 veteran Mark Becker has covered the court system in Charlotte for decades. And Mark, this new policy is a big change in the way they decide who gets out of jail.
Yeah, it's a tectonic shift, Allison, because under the old policy, what happened was when someone was arrested and brought to the jail here, their bail was set based on the crime they were charged with committing. If they had enough money, they could simply buy their way out of jail before trial. But many others, critics say, simply couldn't afford to do that.
You know, it's better actually in jail.
People like Christy Puckett Williams. 10 years ago, she was pregnant with twins and spent 5 months in jail on drug charges, only because she couldn't afford to pay the $167,000 bail.
So because the court had $167,000 of my dollars, that means now that I'm no longer a threat?
Now, under the new policy, anyone who's arrested will have a public safety assessment in the jail that judges can review when they come to court and release those low-risk offenders with little or no bond at all. Elizabeth Trosh is one of those judges.
Research shows that this is a better approach, that this is smarter on crime. It's just not what we're used to.
She says studies around the country show that releasing low-risk offenders before trial actually makes them less likely to commit more crimes. In a statement, Mecklenburg County's district attorney says, "I'm quite hopeful this new policy is a step in the right direction, but not everyone is convinced that it is."
I think what you're going to do is you're going to increase the amount of victims in Mecklenburg County.
Marcus Philemon started Mecklenburg County Court Watch. He says the change comes while crime is going back up in Charlotte.
I think we deserve, as taxpayers and citizens, to be safe, feel safe, and I don't think this policy does that.
And I've actually spoken with some who say even judges may be on the fence at this point about this new policy. They're taking a wait-and-see attitude. Allison?
Mark, is part of this new policy to relieve overcrowding at the jail?
You know, it's interesting that no, that is really not the concern. The jail here has been undercrowded for a long time, if that is a word. Crowding here isn't the problem. This is really a policy rooted in fairness and, again, trying to keep people from coming back into jail. They say the best way to do that is to get them out before trial. Alice?
Our Mark Becker reporting. Thanks, Mark.